All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the Mabinogi podcast. Thank you so much for watching. We heard your feedback in the last one and made some slight changes. But because this episode's a very special one, Mabby Nerds in Japan, the audio quality may be a little but overall it's pretty good. He's on his phone, he's roaming around Japan. Uh, what can you do? So this is a very special episode, and we did experience some issues because I tried to go live. Number one, I guess OBS and going live, you can't have multiple audio tracks, so that caused an issue. Number two, the second issue is, oh boy. Anyway, essentially, for some reason, my settings got changed and my audio wasn't being picked up on the recording. So, with that being said, I edited out all the parts where I said anything, and honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but it wasn't all that much talking that I did. Rixie, Firelight, and Mabby Nerd absolutely carried this episode, so shout out to them. I'll have to make it up in the next one. And for the winner of the giveaway, you'll hear it pretty early on in the episode, but expect 14 days from the time this episode goes live, in that ballpark, and Nexon will send you your gifts. So congratulations! Look, I hope you're hyped to hear who it is that won. But anyways, enough of this pre-show rambling. Let's jump right into episode 3.
You're gonna see a train live, guys. This is my home station that I keep coming back from.
You're saying you've been in Japan so long, you're gonna have to take a vacation to come back here and hang out before you go back.
Wait, say that again.
You've been in Japan
What'd
so
you say?
long. It's
Oh, am I disconnecting? I've been in
like the
Japan
real.
so long that I need to take a vacation from Japan to come back here.
Yeah.
I'm here until the 9th, technically the 8th at this point. And I guess you'll hear it here first. I'm going back next year, going back again. I'll line something else up, but I'll talk about that later. Like I've been, it's just a given. I've been let's just say networking to the best of my abilities this time around. That was the whole point. And I got a lot of responses that I didn't think I'd get back. So that's the good news. That's some cool stuff planned for that. That's next. Listen. So if we're doing this world tour for the Mabi documentary, which this documentary has become something so crazy at this point that I'm just gonna keep pushing it even further. Why stop at Japan? Yeah, we're going to Korea next. I'm setting my sights there. I feel like that'll be maybe even be easier.
Yeah. Could be.
Well, look at this. This is like blocking down it. But let's continue. Let's kick it off. Oh, what is that? Continue.
Mm-hmm.
If I die,
For our audio only listeners in the podcast version of this on Spotify, which you can check out.
I'm walking
probably.
down the sketchiest market shop.
There's a video
Just
feed
walking
of
there.
Mabi Nerd in Japan on the video right now.
These are all shops. This whole place It's probably crazy when it's open. I have to come back here, but continue, guys. The sketchiest bathrooms I've ever seen in my
They
life.
said that their fondest memory in Aaron was definitely their first time getting Paladin back in 2008. They said they were 8 years old with their friend looking over their shoulder as they played, which led to them downloading the game when they got home, and they can still remember it definitely being one of their W moments. Yeah, their friend went and downloaded it. Yeah, being a paladin back in
That's a
2008, that
good
was
winner.
like styling because it wasn't easy to get. They had to do ideals and all sorts of stuff to get through G2.
Did you see that sketchy bathroom? No, I don't think so. You can literally see the urinal when you're walking up the street. You can literally see the urinal.
Yes, the winner's in-game name, because I'm not sure how to say the combination of letters and numbers in their YouTube username. Their in-game name was Koritsuki from the yeah.
Congratulations.
Put your
This is
blinders on.
ASMR. Mobby's lost in sketchy back alleys. I'm literally in the back rooms.
Speaking
I'm.
speaking of the backrooms, you kind of missed it, but there was a little get together in the backrooms of Albi Dungeon. The dropping hero
The
was there.
dropping. I
Yeah, the
saw the
dropping.
pictures. I saw the pictures and I wanted more context. What was that?
So
What was that? What happened?
Lumina C was streaming, and she was streaming cleaning her inventory. She was told by somebody that if she successfully cleaned her inventory by the end of the week, they would give her a ruin staff, which is kind of an absurd deal, if you
Oh,
ask me. All you have to do is clean your inventory. But it turned out to be like the ultimate hard mode version of trying to clean your inventory. Because she started like cleaning her inventory and then other people showed up and started cleaning their inventory and then she got distracted by all the things on the ground like, oh no, why did you drop that? How could you drop that? That's a thing. And then
yeah.
at some point
Sorry, I'm still
was
listening.
picking things up and then there was too much to pick up and then the realization set in that this was the opposite of cleaning the inventory. Eventually got back on track, but at that point it was already wild. There was a lot of stuff going
You
on.
know,
I don't know. Don't know. We don't have a conclusion to the
I
story.
feel like cleaning your inventory sounds like a simple task, but Mabinogi players, I feel like to some degree, are all kleptics, with the exception of Kodefu for some reason.
Oh, his
Like
inventory is
we
so
feel the
clean.
compulsive because
Like
he's a
empty.
Mobby minimalist.
Yeah.
He's the opposite. He's the antithesis of a Mobby player. He's a Mobby minimalist. Those are rare, but for the most part, I feel like we get attached to what we pick up, and it's hard to put stuff down. Then you get stuff that you can't drop. You get stuff that you have to destroy. If you let it become too bad, it's Mobby hoarders. So there needs to be a
Mm-hmm.
spin-off series called Mobby Hoarders, where we rate people's inventories and see how bad of a hoarder they are.
Get a little
I
too close
imagine
to
a
home
lot of
there.
people have that problem. I'll speak.
Yeah.
Let's play a game called Is it a clinic or is it a love place? That is the question. It's probably a clinic. It's probably a clinic. This doesn't seem like that kind of district where there's like love hotels and stuff. I'm in a really
Yeah.
quaint little. Yeah. So I don't. The thing that makes me comfortable doing this is the fact that like I got the double whammy of nobody's gonna bother me card. Being a black dude out in Japan is already one thing, but the second thing is that people just don't mess with you. Like it's usually pretty peaceful. Like kids are walking back from school and stuff. So I don't think there's not to worry about, really. Personally, I think that I'm fine. Now if I was in some place like Kabukicho, that would be a different story. I wouldn't want to
Mm.
walk around there by myself. That's where you got like some real shady folks peddling stuff, scamming people, trying to get like I think the worst thing you have to worry about in Japan is falling victim to some kind of sick scam. And some of them are pretty devious. Like one that was really bad that made news was how like people get you to come into their bar to drink and damn it's really dark over here. They get you to come into the bar to drink, but they would either drug you and make you wake up with a big bill or tell you it's all you can drink for one price and then turn around and make it like a huge bill and then report you to police if you don't pay it.
Both of those outcomes
And those are
are
like all around those districts. Not good.
both of those are unfun. Mm-hmm.
Very true. But I haven't been doing a whole lot of recording while I was out here, other than like from my phone. Like I brought my camera stuff, but I mostly just saved it for later for like the meetup.
Yeah.
And I've sort of been vibing. It's been finding other stuff to do, recording small things, and trying the network. It's kind of been my thing.
Putting down roots.
Yeah. All right, we're back to civilization. But no, I don't think I would want to do that. Or at least not now. I'm not in a financial position to that have that be a viable thing to want to do. And there are other reasons as well. I feel like I'm not weeb enough to want to live out here. Not saying it's a bad place by any means, but I think that there's certain things in the certain uh, ways of life out here that are incompatible with me currently. Uh, the main one being that unless I lived like out, I wouldn't. Okay, let me rephrase it. If I did, I wouldn't want to live in Tokyo. I'd want to live someplace where it's a little more
Yeah,
spaced out. Like if you notice,
that makes
everything
sense.
is built together. It's upwards and outwards, and because of that, stuff like noise is a huge thing. Like if you look at these places, they're so close together, and it's residential, it's business. You know how like back where we're at, it's like things are zoned. Right? You have more defined zones over what's business, what's residential, but you have business at the bottom, residential at the top. You have everything so packed together that you hear everything. You hear each other's noise, so you have quiet hours. Y'all know me. I like to stream. I like to record. I'm not what you call a quiet person when it comes to uh, doing that. So if
Mhm.
I stayed out here, I feel like I would have a lot of noise complaints. In fact, I didn't get one, but I was listening to my friend vent in his Discord about it because he's out here on a trip too, and he kept getting them because he does. He brought his whole streaming setup and has been doing live streams while he was out here, and he got a bunch of noise complaints, even though his B&B is like a house. He's staying in like a whole house, but he's still got one because the neighbors could still hear everything.
Rough.
So like I feel like in that regard, it would just depend. And there's other things too. Like I will say, At this point, I'm pretty confident that I can navigate the Tokyo Metro without using GPS. But it's because I keep getting lost and ending up in Alto. That's been the joke everyone's been kind of dunking on me for. It's like, where's Mabinogi? Oh, he's probably in Alto. I'm gonna sit here
Well,
because
on the
no one I can buy.
upside, it sounds like you know how to find your way back from Alto.
That's true. That is very true. So like it's 50-50. I feel like it depends on the circumstances. That is. I've kind of gotten to the point where like if I get to Alto, I'll just walk home from there. Screw it. I'm not jumping back on the train again. But no, I think it really depends on the circumstances. Like if I was in a different financial situation and I could live someplace not like in Tokyo, I think it'd be all right. But I think that the city life is not really it's not really fully my thing yet. Not that busy. Like I like where I'm at back at home. It's kind of a little bit of a happy medium between being in a bustling district and a not so busy area.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have a lot of trouble adapting to some of the societal norms out here. But I will say there's some good things with this life. Maybe be a little too off topic for the stream. I don't know if y'all want me to talk too much about it, but like when it comes to the whole thing I saw about like being a black dude in Japan, it's been a really weird experience because I feel like there's certain social prejudices that you expect, but then it just doesn't happen, and it's just super weird. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'll talk about that later. I don't want to go off topic, but I think it could be a pro and a con. Like, I can see why someone would want to live out here, but I'd also see why it would pose a whole bunch of new challenges if you're not prepared, and I'm not prepared. Yeah, yeah, no, exactly that. There's a lot of stuff that we get misconceptions about, and I think that we think about like what we see of Japan in media and stuff, and I forget which YouTuber did this, but he said the problem is it's all just Tokyo. Like everything that we see is all just Tokyo, and it gives you a different idea. It'd be like if we based everything from America off of New York City. It's like not exactly the same. People's attitudes aren't exactly the same. It isn't really a representation of everything. So when they say like it's technologically advanced, like yeah, Tokyo, not everywhere else. Everything else is pen and paper, so by the books. I hate that. I do not like writing stuff down repeatedly and doing paperwork. So I wouldn't like that. It's what's another thing? I went to a convention out here. I went to an anime convention out here, and it made me remember how good we have it everywhere else because there's so much less restrictions. The badges are broken out in three categories. One, cosplay badge. You have to only like it's free for everyone else, but if you are dressed up, you can't come in dressed up. You have to come in and pay for a changing area to change into your costume. You can't enter dressed up. You have to pay for that. And that's what your cosplay pass is for. To take pictures of people in cosplay, you pay for a different pass. And then there are designated zones for both those people. You can't go out of those zones in costume with the change again. That's I don't like that. And that might not be the case for every convention out here, but I was talking to some people and it does sound like it's pretty much the norm for a lot of them. Whereas where we're at, you just dress up and there's reasons for it. It's like licensing and all that stuff. So it's like copyright. But that's super weird to me. Like, you
Yeah,
can't dress as Luffy from One Piece because of copyright reasons.
yeah, that's kind of bizarre because I know
So
like a
it's just
very,
like,
very, very core memory of mine from like the first convention I went to was like before we got to the con, we stopped at McDonald's. And when we got to McDonald's, this was like nearby where the convention was. There's a whole bunch of people just
mm,
dressed up as anime like characters and whatnot in the McDonald's, just getting McDonald's because it's like the nearest place to get
yes,
food to the convention.
yes.
And then like out on the street,
That's like,
like outside of McDonald's, like on the way to the convention, you see like randomly here and there just people walking in cosplay. And then you get to like closer to the convention area, and just like any like business that's along like anywhere nearby is just like, yeah, there's a bunch of people just dressed up today. We don't know why, unless you're actually going to the
No, no,
convention. But like, I guess
that's
if
the
you
best
lived in the area,
playing
you'd,
spot the con goers.
yeah, you'd kind of expect it. But that was
I
like
like that. I like that.
a very cool memory. It was like, oh yeah, this is something I would do more often. It was like because of like that moment. Like not even getting to the
Yeah,
convention and already seeing that it was kind of like making waves or spreading in the community and all that. It's kind of cool.
hell yeah.
So uh, the idea that that just couldn't exist in some places with conventions is a little bit odd to me.
Yeah, it's like that. It's super funny because it takes place in Sunshine City Mall. It's like a whole shopping center. And there's people who still left and went to places anyways. You could definitely tell like there's a lot of people who didn't care about the rules and still went off and did what they wanted to do. But the fact that it is a rule to begin with is just super bizarre to me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But we got off topic here. What's the next thing we're supposed to talk about? I'm sorry, I don't want to like derail everything.
So
Oh,
in in the world of Aaron, we recently had the Bankroll event, um,
mhm.
and kind of wanted to talk a little bit about like afterthoughts on that. Uh, if if anybody participated and what their experience was, kind of dry. That was that was the general experience. I think that a lot of people felt they were expecting better drop rates than what was felt by the community as a whole. And this
Mm.
is something that we actually put numbers to. There were a number of people that put together like Excel sheets and Google sheets of their drops. They were just recording it, and it's
Oh
bizarre to
God.
me because they're like what they put in the sheets is extremely similar to what my experience was. I didn't record it exactly, but I know like what drops I got, where I got them, how many runs I did. I don't have exact numbers
Mm.
though, but I do have exact numbers for the last day of the bankroll. I ran 20 Feth Elites, and we saw one magical mist crystal out of every box we opened. I ran seven. Uh, what is it? Revised Illusion Elites. I just call them Revs, which doesn't help because there's a weapon type the same name. So Revised Illusion, and we saw two blazing and three Gata fragments, and then I ran, was it 6, 7 Nightmares Elite? This was all the last day of the event. This like I ran a lot more than this, but this was like the last day. I ran 7 Nightmares Elite, and we got two ore, and was it three or two slate? Three slate. It was three slate. So out of those, there's certainly an outlier. It's like if you run 7 and you get roughly like 3 drops or 4 drops, you run 6, you get roughly 3 or 4 drops, right? And then you run 20 and you get 1 drop. It just and it seems like most people were geared enough that they could run Feth this time around, and so it seemed like more people were running Feth, but like Feth just seemed extremely dry. And so a lot of people were really disappointed because they couldn't get the drops they needed. They would go and run Revised Illusion a lot and get the materials they needed. They'd go and run Seven Nightmares and get the materials they needed. And then they'd run Feth and be stuck on Abyssal Orbs and on Mist Crystals. It was kind of weird. And I saw like some data sheets that showed very similar experiences where it was like they'd get like over the course of the event like 5, 6, 7 drops from one, 5 or 6, 7 drops from the other, and then like 1 drop from Feth the entire event, which is like
Mm.
crazy to me. There's some discussion that the drop rates were not increased for demolition and ruination mats, and it was only increased for the materials needed for the armors, which is interesting because the event comes from the Korean event and they don't have demolition and ruination mats. So if they just copy pasted the event for us and didn't actually like tweak it for the materials we have that they don't, we kind of maybe got gypped on what could have been a really good bankroll. I can't speak very much for Phantasm. I know Phantasm was dry the times that we ran together, but I didn't run that very much outside of that. Yeah, and then I did run Magmel when it was the Magmel week, where that was the only thing for bankroll. I ran that repeated like a ridiculous number of times. I didn't get one master bead, so it makes me wonder what they increased the drop rate on. Because I didn't get any master beads. I didn't get any of the fragments of the thing for the bow appearance scroll. I didn't get any of the thing for like no tears, no I know some people got like the dresses and stuff like that or materials for them. But I didn't see any of those. It was just kind of no. Nope, they just say they increase the drop rates. They don't specify what. It's just a general. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't need to be like a significant increase for it to be a good event. It's just I feel like I would almost rather they leave the like they just don't say that the drop rate is increased, so we're not expecting it. And then maybe just for the duration of the event there's a pity shop and like we get event coins that let us buy the things that we want. So we can at least have like a work toward the thing that I want situation. And we don't have to rely as much on that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just put everything in it. Put the enchants in it, put the materials in it. I don't even care what the cost of it is. Just like put a number to it and say this many runs and you can get this thing, you know. Well, it's not that it will make people run the content more cuz we ran the content. I know a lot of people were day and night just living and breathing bankroll. But it'll make it feel better so that we're not all like completely burnt out on not getting drops, not getting drops, not getting drops. And it just feels dry. Like I know someday like there was a lot of conversation like the word that kept coming up was dry. It's just things felt dry. It's like you ran so many dungeons and got nothing. I shouldn't say nothing. You get
That's
gold in
never a
every
good
chapter.
feeling too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
but you still want to get like something of substance other than gold. Like you feel like you're
yeah.
getting somewhere, right?
Mhm. It's just yeah, that's the thing. You want to feel like you're getting somewhere, and a pity system lets you feel like you're getting somewhere over like the long term, whereas just the long term by itself, even though you're increasing your chances by running more, um, it doesn't feel like it
I'm
doesn't feel
sorry
like
to
getting,
hear that.
you know. So, but it was an okay event. I did get some good drops. I didn't see a single abyssal orb, so but I didn't need them. I'm done with my
Yeah.
rune. So, but I know some people were hunting and came up short.
Oh, excuse me.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of hard too because the Phantasm one it costs a lot to run, even with bankroll.
80
Oof.
mil?
Yeah, we're talking big boy numbers.
Dang. That's big. That's big boy. That's y'all in the 1%. Y'all in the top 1%.
Nah. Dude, I I've run through so much gold in the past 2 weeks. I've sold like, what was it, 4 ruin mats and like a bunch of demolition mats and a bunch of like strange
Mm,
shards and mysterious shards and uh faded fragments and stuff like that. I've sold so many
uh,
drops that I got, and I have currently let's see, currently have less than 2 mil
mm,
to to my account.
okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, because of that.
You already know what I'm doing. You already know. I was gonna say, hey man, it doesn't pay. It pays to maintain some level of situational awareness. Still, I was like, but
For sure.
what I was gonna say was it might be a huge invasion of privacy, but I'd be so curious to know like who the top percentile is in Mabinogi when it comes to gold. Like, what is like the wealthiest player holding in their bank right now in
So
the game?
we know that information, kind of. Uh,
We do.
yeah, we know the people that frequently will do loans to other players, or are or at least are sitting
Is there like a
on
mobby
over the
mob?
like sitting on over the bank limit of gold. Um, there's a couple players that are kind of known for having that. Um, it was goofy because they discovered a situation where if you have like the bank limit increase from the coupons, and then you have that amount, and then you go to that amount of gold, it won't let you withdraw the item from the auction house or something. There was like some bug they discovered because they like went over the
Wow,
maximum bank limit sort of thing. It was kind of
that's
goofy.
crazy to be that rich.
Um,
That is super funny, actually.
and as far as like top 1%, if you want to know who has like that much gold invested like in their character, um, a pretty accurate listing of that might be FOMS. Um, because gold does kind of directly translate to power in some regard. It's not entirely
Oh,
true.
oh,
There's a skill limit too. So there's some like skill expression there, and there's also it's not like there's some things gold just can't buy, right? Like not tradable things, stuff you had to be
mm.
lucky to come across or been around for a while to get, you know. Um, collective effort,
I
you
was
know.
never gold smart. I'm mobby smart. Makes me more intelligent. Sorry.
But yeah, if you look at the FOMS ranking, that'll give you a good idea of who has the most gold invested in their character.
Okay.
Not necessarily who has the most like gold in the bank though.
It's just so crazy to think like there's mobby millionaires. That's another web series you could do. Mobby millionaires. Here, yeah, MTV Cribs only. It's like the show me what you got in Mabinogi. We want to see how rich you are.
Hmm.
Um, is it where is it being streamed at? Oh, I'm like looking on YouTube, like I don't see it live on it. Shoot me that link. I want to be a viewer and help add to the numbers. Yo, I'll watch. I'll.
Because OBS has the stream key, it lets you do it anyway.
That's funny. Is you're backdooring your own Twitch account? I respect that. I can respect that. I think after the stream, I'm gonna find like a random. That's funny. Hey, that works. That works. Uh, it's just the people coming back from a bar laughing. Man, there was a Did I tell you, like, I woke up on the train. So I went to Fuji Q, and getting back from Fuji Q was the worst ever. Normally, it's a smooth transition. Take a bus there or a train there, take a bus back. I train there, bus back. This time around, all the buses were booked full. They were gone. A large group of Italians, I kid you not, booked up all the buses, and then some spillover people had to take the train, and they were mad because they didn't have any suicas. They didn't have any way to actually like tap in and out. They didn't buy tickets. They just jumped the gate. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In fact, that's a whole story for another day. I'm gonna TLDR. We took a bunch of weird trains to get back because we were racing the clock before the stations closed, and the last line was out, and we'd be stuck near Mount Fuji with no way to get back other than staying at a hotel or something. And I bought this big stupid hat that has it's shaped like Mount Fuji, and it's like it wraps around your whole face. I posted on. I think you saw. I posted it on Twitter. I
Yeah, I
fell
saw
asleep
that.
on the train wearing that hat. It's so comfortable. I fell asleep wearing it on the train, like leaned up against the glass. And I woke up and I saw two cell phones in my face. They're taking pictures because it looked dumb me sleeping with it on the train. So I'm probably like on some Japanese Reddit somewhere. But that was like a funny moment. But getting back was a doozy. But there's like some people who definitely aren't shy about about that stuff. So I'm always like, hmm, that's I once witnessed a bike accident. Almost. Just somebody pulling some luggage and someone on a bike, and they daredevil it. They did not hit the brakes. So like, either you move or I'm going through you. And they just narrowly missed him like this. Like okay, and they still pedaling. They going. That's a mom on a mission right there. I could, if you want me to, I will walk to Don Quixote and just record walking through this crazy business. But the theme song will burn its way into your skull and you will hate me forever because you will not get it out of your head. And they play it on loop everywhere in the store almost. You can't escape it. You'll be sitting there like Donkey, Donkey, Quixote. I finally realized the Junes theme from Persona 4 was based off of Don Quixote. It has to be. It's the same tune almost. It just plays.
Which came
Cursed.
first?
Very cursed. I do want those Don Quixote Crocs though. Not gonna lie. It's like the mascot. I might just leave with them. I might. It's just like the little penguin mascot, but they're Crocs. If they have them in my size, I'll get them. But yeah, that's crazy about like the drop rates in the bank. And you said the bankroll is. Well, you said yuck immediately, so that told me everything I need to know.
Yeah, it was kind of brutal. It also doesn't help that they didn't do bankroll for advanced dungeon, like the advanced hard mode dungeons, because that's one that people enjoy. Um,
Mm,
I would have liked to see like veteran dungeons, advanced hard mode dungeons, lord missions, like throw Crom on there, throw Glen on there. Like just give us some goofy stuff to run for, you know. Speaking of sound checks, uh somebody has joined the league of Mabby rappers.
yes.
I wonder who that somebody is.
Yeah. Oh,
Would you
I think I just left the call. Am I still here?
has
Who do
anybody
you think that? Do I have to guess? Do I have to guess?
has, has anybody seen the that channel that's lurking in the background of other people's streams being advertised?
It's the best.
There's apparently Aaron Records
Oh, hey, little
has
doggies.
has signed some Mabby rappers. What's he go by? It's a little something.
Oh yeah, Aaron
Yeah.
Radio Records has been going pretty hard. They've been going pretty hard. Yeah, who is that? It's not beginner enchant bundle. Who is it? I know there's young durability, but who was the other one? I seriously, yeah. Old age, champ.
There's some
Look,
new
I'm ready to
peeps
hear
in
this
the team.
track. I want to know.
Yeah, I'm
I
looking forward
welcome
to
more
seeing more from
Mabinogi
these.
rappers.
Yeah, we could use more. True.
We
We need
literally went around. I still have to edit that.
we need more Mabi rappers so we can do more Mabi rap battles. That's how that works out, right?
More
That's
rap
the math checks
battles,
out, right?
more
Yeah.
little ciphers. It all works
Ooh,
out. And
ciphers are
fun
fun.
fact, I want y'all to know this. I want y'all to know. That's fair. We'll keep you in the ciphers
Fair.
instead. Those are more fun. We gotta play a character and um listen. I did some serious research on this. Like super serious research. It's not the biggest flex in the world, but it is interesting that Mabi NA is the only branch of Mabinogi that has Mabinogi rap. I want you to know that y'all contributed to this fact.
Like
That would
live
be
in
so
game
cool. Could you
or like
imagine?
actual concert or like all right.
I
All
would
right.
choke so hard live. I would choke so hard. I would do it, but I would mess up and then have to like improv my way out of it.
I came prepared to the Soul Streamer meetup. I was like memorizing my verses. I was like, yo, just in case somebody
Hmm.
puts me on the spot. And of course, nobody
Unlike
did.
me, you were ready.
But then the next time you guys went, you got put on the spot for the one. Oh,
Yeah.
what verse did they want from you?
It was
Dead bees, right? Right.
it was Dead Bees. I just like talked my way through it. I didn't like rap it or say it. It was Dead Bees,
Yeah.
and then it was also the puppeteer versus not Bard versus puppeteer, the mage versus alchemist rap,
Mm-hmm.
which I also did not remember my own lyrics to, which is not good. Like I do this thing in improv too, where like it's supposed to be unscripted. Improv is unscripted, but there's like a few things that are sort of scripted. And
Yeah.
when I forget the script, I just make random noises and just play a dumb character. And I just I feel like that's gonna happen if we did rap. I would just go back into that and just be like, make noise. I just make noises with my mouth and then walk off the stage and look embarrassed. I suck at
You make
remembering things short term.
If you make noises similar to like mumbling, the people that know the lyrics will hear the lyrics and think you did a good job, and the people that didn't hear like know the lyrics, they'll think they just didn't
Yes,
understand what you said, but you said it right, and you just like cruise through. Just it's
that
all
is
in the
big brain.
confidence
That is genius. That's
delivery.
what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
My friend is rapid fire sending me clips. He's still down in Shibuya, and it's chaos right now because of the war on Halloween that's happening over there. And I feel like I'm simultaneously missing out, but also glad I'm not there because there's a bunch of police.
We just need to we need to bring the
I
spooky
kid you
rave to
not,
Shibuya.
we do. But if you brought the spooky raid there, it would just be combated by like 20 police officers because the last picture he sent me was a bunch of cops trying to kick a dude in a giant Gundam costume off the street. I'm like,
It's probably like I can only
if this
move
ain't the
so
most
fast.
Japanese, you can't do anything. You can't move. So you want to know the story behind what's going on with that? It's actually really interesting. That truck.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually really interesting. Quick break. So look, check this out. So last year at Shibuya Halloween was probably like the worst year for it because two things happened. Technically three. The incident in Korea around the same time or a day prior to it. So Shibuya Halloween's like three, it was like a 3 day thing. Like 3 or 4 days of people dressing up in costumes and just taking over the streets of Shibuya, partying, drinking, all sorts of chaos. It's off the rails. It's not an official event. There's no entry fee. There's no head organizer of it. It's just something that happens, and it's just off the rails. The city does what they can to control it, But each year they put more and more restrictions to kind of try to calm things down. One year they started adding like no drinking on the streets, which is the year I went. And then they added like no smoking, and then no certain places, businesses literally just can't be open. Last year, there was so much garbage left by tourists in Shibuya that it was like a crisis. Like it was pretty bad. Although I'd argue that it wasn't just Halloween that year that left Shibuya covered in garbage. I think it was just tourists and just party people in general, because the country had just opened back up to tourism. So like I noticed right away that Shibuya was like significantly dirtier than everywhere else. There's just garbage everywhere from people. It was just very different than like what I was expecting. That was my first time ever in the country. The second thing was the whole crowd crush thing that happened in Korea, which was a huge deal. There was like a celebrity that showed up at an event that was a gathering there, and a lot of people got crowd crushed, which wasn't the first major crowd crush incident that happened in the world. What was it? Travis Scott's concert is another example of it as well. So the topic of crowd crush is kind of making its rounds, and it was a valid concern, because if you look like the last video, or you look up any video of Shibuya Halloween, there are a lot of people, and Shibuya is not what you consider a wide open place. It's a lot of narrow alleyways, closed places, and roads, and it's the busiest crossing in the world. So you add that with the fact that there's dozens of tourists from all over the world, dressed as minions and zombies and skeletons and ghosts, congesting it even more, and add the fact that they're all completely drunk, partying, getting rowdy, starting fights, all this stuff, it puts the mayor in a really weird position where he has to declare war on Halloween. So the start of start of October, the mayor came out and said, "Do not come here for Halloween this year." But a lot of people, both from the country and not from the country, were like, "How are you going to stop us? You can't tell us you can't dress up on the street and walk around." And then it led to the Japanese government being like, "I bet." And so now you have all these cops posted up on every part of the street, and they're making it so that you have to keep moving. You can't congregate. You cannot stop and stand. Like Firelight was in here earlier where I was doing a video where they made us move in front of McDonald's after a while. Like they're making it so that if you are there for Halloween, you got to keep walking until the club's open, go inside of a club or something, but you can't be on the street. That's kind of how they've done it. And so you got people kind of pushing back and coming dressed up in costumes anyways. And now it's like less of a bunch of people congregating on the street and more of a big spooky Halloween parade where everyone just awkwardly is shuffling around a circle in costumes. It's super weird. I don't know how to describe it, but that's what it is. And that's why there's a war on Halloween. It really does. There's probably more to it that I am unaware of and leaving out, but in terms of like how Halloween is perceived everywhere else, I would say it's seen as more of a fun, like children friendly holiday. Like it's all little parades going on and little events. I went to Ninja Bar and dressed up, and they had a little costume party down there and karaoke. But Shibuya Halloween is definitely like the biggest in the Tokyo area for like Halloween celebrations. There's some others that I don't know where they are, but there's some other ones that are supposed to be just as big but not as crazy. But that's definitely like the craziest one, and the one if you look up Halloween in Japan, that's what would pop up first. And if you look at the videos of it and you look at like how things are in terms of like etiquette, in terms of like uh everything that you know from watching travel videos or anyone who lives here talking about like what you should and shouldn't do, and then you look at Shibuya Halloween, it's like you're looking at a completely different place. So I still personally think that that's still like it's super weird. Like I guess some people argue that the tourism that it brings to Shibuya is good for the country and good for the area. And some people argue that it literally doesn't matter. People are going to go there anyways. What difference does it make? it doesn't help or take away. I don't know. I'm not from here, so I can't say. But I thought that was really funny to see that there's this weird war on Halloween. So much so there was somebody wearing a mask of the signage saying that no parties on the streets. They were wearing it as a face mask and just walking around as their costume. It was so funny. And that was a local. That wasn't like a tourist. So that made it even funnier. So it was just really interesting to see. Yeah, I want to know how it started. The official story is that Disney kind of brought it as a thing, but I don't think that's entirely true because I've heard like there's been examples of it since before. The Magic Kingdom kind of set up shop and made it a big annual celebration. That person's wearing a Cider hat. Someone across the street with a Cider hat on. It's cool. Yeah, no, they nodded first. They nodded first. They know what I'm saying. Um, but that's funny. Um, as soon as I said that, they looked at me and said, it's like,
On the
but
on the topic of costumes, sort of, we're going a
yes,
little bit off of it.
let's reel it back in. Let's reel it back in.
What playable race would you add to Mabi?
I've been saying this for the longest
I'll,
time,
go ahead.
and I always thought it was canon. I thought that so I don't know if it was just someone making stuff up, and I just fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. But I had the strong belief that there's going to be a fourth race added to the game, and that there was like a blank slot where they were supposed to be at. Like I thought that it was coming, and I thought it was going to be the shop brownies. Because hear me out, every MMO has like a height chart of characters. You have your giants, your human, your like stocky like elf type characters, and then you have like the tiny people. And Mabinogi doesn't have that. So it had to be the brownies. So I thought that the brownies would become a playable race of characters. And what added more credence to that was the fact that if you transformed into a brownie, they could do almost all the same emotes that you could do as a human. So I firmly believe that brownies were a fourth race playable characters.
So this leads directly into the topic of the conversation I was gonna bring up, if you didn't have anything to say, was Final Fantasy has Lalafels, right? Short people.
Mm-hmm.
The little
Yeah.
little kids, but they're not kids, right? Mabi
Little potatoes.
has
Don't call them kids, they'll get mad.
little potatoes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mabi has imp potions. So rather than it being a playable like race, it's just anybody can be small. You only get it like for
That's true.
temporarily, but 2 hours is like a whole play session. And what brought this up was me and Hero and Lumina were all chilling in Dunbarton after drinking imp potions. Hero had taken the imp potion, so he's small, and then a giant had also taken the imp potion, so they were small, and then Hero is riding on the giant's shoulder, and they were not combined height were not as tall as a normal character, which was kind of funny.
That's funny. That's actually really funny.
But I was like, huh, is this just
Good
like
Mobby antics?
Yeah, is this just like Mobby's answer to there not being a small race in the game that you could just just be small on any race that you're playing already?
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point. That's actually a really good point. Like, what is the I don't know.
I'm okay. Hear me out. When they introduce underwater content, I want an underwater race that can go on land, right? Like a merfolk sort of thing, but like they they could have legs and stuff, you know, so it's not like strictly underwater, so they can go and do stuff everywhere else. But like just kind of parody, like when we added Iria, we got 2 new races. And now if we're
Mm.
adding the underwater content, now it's like adding a new area and we get a race or maybe 2 races that go along with the new areas. Mm-hmm. Well,
Well, they've already established that
elves
there's
are,
like a Far East race in Mabinogi. We get to get their city. That'd be cool.
yeah. I think it would be cool to kind of explore that a little bit more. I don't know what exactly you would do for like the balance portion of it, but I think that there's space for it because elves are supposed to be uniquely good at archery, but humans are just as good at
Yeah.
archery as elves are because of Eric. So now that barrier's kind of broken down. Giants are the kings of close combat. That's their niche. Um,
Mm.
and nothing even gets close to that, right? They're just the better close combat race. They get extra skills that are relevant and useful, and they're very strong
Mm.
in those stats. But when it comes to like magic, there's no magic race. It's supposed to be elves because they have a higher int cap, but and they also have like some minor like tweaks to their magic, um, like cast speed or something like that. It's very minor,
Mm.
and it's weird to me because when you get to like top level play, giants actually become equal if not better mages because although the elves have a higher cap, they can't actually reach it. Um, Giants have a
Mm.
stronger intelligence boost from Shine of Uka compared to elves, and the elf Shine of Uka boost is not enough for an elf to reach the cap int that they have. So they're not benefiting from the higher cap.
Okay.
So it's like, well, giants are just they've essentially basically like I did the math. It's something like 30 int that they're not able to get because of their cap that elves can get. So it's like so we don't really have a race that's best in magic because the dominance of elves isn't it's like 20-30 intelligence, which is nothing when you add in like arcana and all sorts of stuff like that. It's like so there's room for a magic race. If you wanted to push elves more to the direction of archery, um, there's also room for kind of a little bit more of a hybrid because ninja kind of falls on giants, but giants don't really want to do ninja with what they're already good at. Um, Guns are kind of in the same position where like humans and giants are good at guns, but like they don't really explore that very much. So if you had a like
Mm.
a 5 race sort of thing, you could have one that's good at the hybrid things, and then
Mm.
like the 3 classic, and then the humans that are kind of versatile and everything. I don't know. I think
Maybe even
it's
introduce a new race. Here's
yeah.
what I would do if I could call and make like executive decisions on introducing a new race, even more multiple new races to the game. I would open up new continents and kind of take the Maple Story approach, where like you're traveling to a different part of the world, like a long
Mm-hmm.
distance, like aerial flight to a whole new region that has
Mm-hmm.
whole new races that you start at. So you leave Aaron, for example, or was it Ulda,
Yeah.
Old,
Cool.
and you introduce like a whole nother continent with other land masses that you can explore, like a whole new map,
Mm-hmm.
brand new, like newer than Iria, as big as Iria, was like 3 different places, and you can travel between them,
Mm-hmm.
those 3 interchangeably, like you can between Iria, uh, Ulad, and
Belfast.
Not Belvast. What's the middle one? Yeah, Belvast.
Belfast. Yeah.
You just add 3 more. So you just keep adding more onto your options. I think that'd be kind of dope actually, because that was something I
Yeah.
thought was cool about Maple Story, was that
Yeah.
you could travel by plane and go to different places that represented different parts of the world. Like you felt like you were traveling to another part of the globe through MapleStory.
I
Of
liked
course,
I
you
liked
just die
that about
instantly if you weren't leveled.
there's a game I used to play, Wonderland Online, had a similar feeling where like you spent a lot of time on like the starter continent, and then once you finally got to the point where you could build a boat, which was like a huge deal, then you got to basically explore the actual world. Like there was like a Mayan area, there was like a Greek area, there was like all these different like places that had different enemy types, different like areas for you to explore. There was a Japan area. You could get like
Well, that's super
different
cool.
characters that would follow you around from each of these areas that had like their own backstory and lore that you like went through.
Look at this character.
Um, it's kind of like the equivalent of a pet, but not really. Um, but yeah, I like the idea of being able to explore a little bit more, and I think Iria did a lot for the game in the early days, but I think it doesn't compare to what games these days can provide. Not that all of them do, but there's
Mm,
the potential for more. Maybe it's a like an engine limitation right now, but definitely with Unreal, I think they should explore more, like just a larger world.
definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. I think that
Avalon was hype. I like that
uh,
they kept adding areas to Belvast in like recent history. Like with Crom Bass, it got its own area of
well,
Belvast. You know.
that's the thing too. Like the game when we first played it seemed so huge, and then you start to realize like how small it actually is in terms of like the scope. So like adding a new area to explore, like when Erie first got added, look at the trailer, like it felt like a whole new land, and it's more stuff they can
It
still put
was.
in it. It's like a blank slate, you know?
Hmm.
I think we need that again. We need another like big new world to explore and just let the people loose it. But you want to see something sketchy.
I feel like that should be the underwater content next, and then after that, when we start building our boats, start going everywhere.
Yeah, I think that'd be super cool.
Oh, I would like
Yes.
to be able to kind of affect that to some degree. You know, like what if the Guardian Guild could just change the layout of Dunbarton, you know, to some degree? Like build up
Mhm.
certain areas, build up the walls, you know, like just yeah.
Move the clock tower back to where it used to be. I remember.
You know,
The
but
real ones
I think it'd
remember.
be cool
Rip
if
clock
players had a
tower.
little bit. I think it'd be cool if players had more impact on the actual like uh geography of Erin and the layout of the landscape. Like the farming
Where
in
am I?
TLTN is kind of cool.
Yeah, true. I agree. There's potential. There's so much potential to add more places to explore that could be added on to. I agree. The farming area in Telteen, that was the coolest thing to me because people could individually own those lots. Like it was a tangible piece of the game
Oh,
that you rented out that belonged to you. To see another player show up there and farm, was super cool to me.
how
Same with
cool
like
would it be?
the housing channel.
Yeah, how cool would it be if Housing Channel, but it's just in the cities we're already in? So like the random houses in Barton, somebody could be in each one of those, and you could like visit their
Oh yeah.
houses. And then like every building in Maine, every building in Tara, like has a purpose, becomes like somewhere somebody could live.
That would be super cool. I
Like
like
we
that.
don't
Like
need the
that was my
housing.
biggest draw to Mobby. Seeing, but no, but seeing the housing channel was like the biggest draw for me because it was so cool to like have virtual. I sound like a broken record. I think I say this every time we do a podcast that it's really cool to have virtual neighbors in a virtual game.
Yeah.
Like Mobby really brought that to life. Like it was super funny seeing people put portraits of themselves in their houses. And there was a series called Thunderella. Thunderella really highlighted the potential from a creative perspective to use neighborhoods to your advantage because it opens up. It's parody Cinderella in Mabinogi. Like, I mean, entirely in Mabinogi. It's a big parody of Cinderella. And the little household dinner scenes, the neighbors talking to each other and bantering, it made the game feel alive on a whole different level. And I like that you had that option, to have neighbors and to collaborate with each other and just do funny stuff like that. To open that possibility, I think is super cool. So like I was super drawn in by the housing market. I never at the time that it was at its peak had enough gold or I don't think I paid for premium, so I didn't really qualify to get it, but I always admired it.
Yeah. I think player
Somehow
generated
I have walking
content.
off the beaten path and continue.
Yeah, I think player generated content is just good for games in general. Um, and one of the updates, like, sorry, spoilers. One of the updates I really like that
Uh-oh.
they did, they implemented uh basically that you could play more mini games anywhere. So like
Ooh.
the
You're
mini
getting more
games
mini
that were,
games?
yeah, but all the time. Like
I like
they did
that.
an update recently about that. Um,
I like that.
which I like that they're stealing those ideas. Continue stealing ideas. You know.
Keep doing that. Keep doing that. These last updates, these QLs have been bangers. That
Yeah.
the update with the appearance
Oh,
scrolls,
yeah. The appearance
banger of
scroll.
an
Oh,
update.
I was taking advantage of that during the dropping. So it turns out after you save an appearance, you can put it on as many weapons as you want. So I went to the shop, bought a bunch of war hammers, and turned them all into chicken, like the little marinated drumsticks,
Drumsticks,
and dropped
marinated
them
drumsticks.
all
I
over the
was
place. I,
expecting those.
I got a
Before I
hundred
left,
and
I turned all my
forty.
guns. Hell yeah, man.
Yes.
Before I left, I turned all of my guns into the duck, the banana duck guns. So I was
Yeah.
always riding a duck boat. Like that's so cool. Oh, I found the bridge. I have gone
That
too
was
far. I don't know where I am anymore.
that was for sure a banger update.
That was the best. They could have.
And
They very well could have.
the fact that you can save an appearance, put it on a weapon, put that weapon in the bank, and then delete that save thing, and then save a different weapon appearance and do the same thing to it means you can like save all of your appearance scrolls in the bank without, yeah, and then you can just cycle through which ones you need. I mean, it still takes space, so you're still
I just
using it,
found the
right?
shrine.
But it lets you kind of keep some of the ones that you're maybe not sure of without.
Uh,
What?
no. Wait, where? Where did you see that at? Oh, no. No, 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 no. That's not us. No, okay, so let me explain. That's a Buddhist symbol. The Nazis, they bastardized it and they angled it. So, yeah, that's the ungentrified version. Now, if it was at an angle, it would be, but that's like a spiritual symbol, is what that one is. Don't worry, I'm not gonna get you banned on Twitch. You think so? Oh, yeah, look at this. Definitely, dude. What if I do and I just disappeared? Like, the phone just dropped, or no, I just wake up in like some anime world. Everything is anime. I thought about it for a second there, like, I don't think it would happen, but I'm not gonna fuck around and find out. Pardon my language. It's like that meme.
Only season
I've
one.
only watched a little bit of it. I seen up until uh they tag the dude that has that weird knife that's super specific about cuts fights that other dude and they just tag teamed him. They're just beating him up that fight back. That's the last episode I ever saw of Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh no. That's why you said leave. That's why you said I would not be there. That's where I was. Oh no. That's crazy, man. Oh, fish are hopping in the water down here. What the hell? I heard it.
Celebrating Halloween.
They said boo. I said, huh, huh. I did that. I scared somebody because they were like acting like a monster, and I overreacted on purpose. Like, oh, they got scared because I got scared or fake scared. My favorite thing to do. I'm gonna go backwards now because I feel like if I'm on the river here, I have gone too far. That is not the Sumida River. But yeah, no, I want more QL updates. I think that we need more, and the mini game stuff. That's huge because I like. Could you imagine being able to do like I want to cross the street, but I'm not supposed to. Could you imagine being able to play oops, do like what's it called? Not air, not that balloon wars, capture the flag, but to form teams to get people to do like flag wars, the
I'm,
balloon fights, going
now
back and doing
I'm
speech, being able to do events.
gonna disappoint you a little bit. Ooh, I got DC'd from Mabby.
Oh, oh,
Anyway, so basically, I'm still good here, right? I didn't lose internet. Okay.
yeah, I still hear
The
you. Yeah.
okay, good. The unfortunate thing is they didn't add the ability to play like event mini games. It's just like the little one where you throw the paper on the other paper and make it flip.
Oh, paper
Um,
flip.
yeah, and then I
Okay.
think they did like rock paper scissors sort of things, like those mini games.
Hey, it's a start. It's a start. I'll
It's a
take it.
start.
Look, as long as they know, and I'm gonna keep saying it, I'm gonna sound like a broken record when I say this stuff. Like, listen, this needs to happen. Just make this a thing. Let people play these instance events. Because they're instance areas, so it doesn't matter anyways. It just loads you into it like Mafia. It's an instance room. The map only exists if you start a lobby for it. So, and when Unreal happens, it won't be that big of a taxing thing to do anyway. So come on, let us have it. Let us have it. More mini games is always a good thing. More things. This is
Supposedly not very much
my
of it.
biggest crackpot theory. This is my
Okay.
biggest theory. This is purely speculation. So if I'm right, I'm gonna say this on the record that I did not get any inside information. No one said nothing. Don't fire nobody. This is me purely guessing and speculating based off of what I've seen from other MMOs that have had significant changes like this. Because there have been a couple that have had a huge shift and they've all handled it differently. And I think that the easiest and most realistic and viable way that they could pull this off would be to do something that appeases everybody because the Unreal Shift it poses a problem for older players who have never updated their computers, who have older rigs, who fear that an Unreal update may not be possible for them to play. And I know there might have been a statement about it, but I feel like what is more realistic and what might end up happening is they take the Sega approach with their MMO. What's it called? Uh, uh, why am I blanking on the name of it? Fantasy Star. They take the Fantasy Star approach. Fantasy Star Online, the classic and New Genesis are the same game. Well, not the same game, but they have your character can carry over from the classic to New Genesis, but the gear and stuff you acquired from it, some of it doesn't. There's some stuff that is modeled in New Genesis and it looks really weird. They did carry over some older stuff. It looks like strangely low poly and low texture, but there's a lot of stuff that also doesn't. As far as I know, don't quote me on this. As far as I know, what I've seen, there's some things that don't. So what ends up happening is you have kind of like a Maple Story, how there's a classic and then there's new. There's classic Mabinogi, and then there's new Mabinogi. So like maybe the new Mabinogi has a different maybe new Mabinogi has a different imagining of the overworld, the map, and the areas. It is still being populated and grows a la New Genesis, whereas you have like some cosmetic items that carried over, but then like a lot of your stuff that just doesn't, but it's still available in classic Mabinogi. You feel me? I'm not saying that's like the best thing, but that's like the most. I feel like Rixie has thoughts. He's lagging out a little bit on me, but I feel like Rixie has thoughts here.
what they said is stuff.
Oh, he's coming back. It's truck. Cool truck. We'll wait for Rixie to stop lagging, and then we'll get his opinion on that. I might have to bow out for a bit because I don't want my battery to die, and then I don't know how to get back to my actual B&B. Although I think I have a good idea. I have a good idea though, so I'm not too worried. I just don't know how I genuinely do not know how I got over here. I think maybe when I walked to the bus, I was walking and I got turned around and I'm walking in the opposite direction as to where I was because I thought when I started doing this that I was close to my accommodation. But then I saw the river and the bridge and I was like, I don't recognize any of this. I don't know where I am. Okay, so like right here, now I'm back at the We Love Tateshi place. Like I've been here before, but I don't recognize some of these. This is weird. No, I've definitely been under here before. I guess I can talk about a little bit why I'm here. And like I'm super excited. So I I reached out to the Japan branch of Nexon to come and film and collaborate with them for a video. And I talked a little bit about and showed them the previews for the Mabi documentary. And they thought that was super cool and wanted to know if there's anything they can do to make a good video out of this trip. So, oops, who died? Rixie died. Um, so what ended up happening is I started to get into talks with somebody from the office, and we've been sort of planning out some videos to make. And one of the big things that we were talking about, and I want to bring up more about, is commercials, because I really think that if there's one thing that the Japanese branch of Mabinogi does really well, it's their commercials. They have fun with the commercials. They're really quirky, but they still like are to the point you can watch them and even with the language barrier, understand what the commercial's joking about. And I don't know if that's because we just play so much of the game or if that's a testament to how good the commercials are. But also, they're super active on the social media. It's like a live stream almost every other day. There's big events, people dress up. You can tell there's a lot of love for the game here. And I didn't expect that. So I wanted to get them to react to some of the commercials, the joke commercials that we made, and maybe make some commercials that we can do, like a little joke thing. So it's just still like a big fat maybe. Okay, I know where I am now. I definitely know where I am now. But I wanted to see. No, there's like I don't know what's going on here. That dude's like running from another person. Uh, but I wanted to see if it was possible to. I want to go this way. Um, to collaborate on some little commercials, some joke bits, maybe even cameo in a couple commercials out here. But that will require me to come back. That's why I said about I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be the last time I set foot in Japan. But that's early knowledge. I don't want to speak too soon on that. I don't want to make promises on that. I don't know if it's a translation error or not, but it sounds to me like that's kind of what they got planned. So that's super cool if it's true. It's just early things. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be cool. So it could be anything from like being in a commercial or just they're doing a stream and I show up on the stream and sort of like I don't know if you're in that stream where I was talking to Rojinjin. It's something like that where like it's like fielding questions back and forth from NA players to players from Japan. Maybe it's something like that, but um I really do want to reach out more and just find ways to kind of I don't know, showcase more Mabinogi on an international scale. That's kind of been my weird side quest, so to speak. So that's kind of what I'm here for and my goal. But to answer the question, I feel like they're gonna say, so here's what I found out so far. These branches, aside from like NA and Korea, I feel like they don't communicate with each other. They operate independently a little bit. So like this whole thing with me talking to the Japan team, nobody from NA really has a way to like reach out. Because like I asked the year prior, and it really was more like, we don't know, you know. So the moral of the story for this one is, I'm front facing, my bad. Oops. It really doesn't hurt to just ask, because I just went ahead and said, you know what? Why not? They're pretty active on social media. Let me just reach out and talk to somebody and then show some credentials. And then they got back to me. And I've been doing that this whole trip, is it's been reaching out, showing my credentials, and then all of a sudden you hear something back, you know? Like I really doesn't hurt to ask, but to answer that question, I think they're gonna say that they have no way to do that for KR. They probably, because this, that'd be super cool. I noticed that both Japan and Korea do this thing where to make certain accounts for certain games, there's like karaoke music coming from this one little small hut thing, and I'm so curious, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. Like it's like a little yellow like building is lights, and someone in there is singing. They're singing their heart out. Oh, they're karaokeing in there. I hear them. You hear it? You hear? Should I open the door? I'll go in. Yeah, it's probably like a karaoke bar or something. Or maybe it's like a really exclusive local bar, and I just walk in like, "Hey, baka gaijin desu." I just walk past a bunch of vomit. Gross. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was like, uh, wrong door. Just close it. Um, but before I get off topic here, a lot of these places do this thing where you need a social security number to make an account, because having multiple, it's something I forgot why. There was a good explanation for it. That was given to me, excuse me, and I do not remember for the life of me what that explanation was. It has something to do with the fact that, yeah, it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. It's body game time restrictions. The fact that you can buy accounts, like if you go to like a PC bong, that you just have preset accounts. It's just super weird. Like it's very different gaming culture. So because of that, uh, you don't want you making multiple accounts that easily. But I would want to know more about that. So that's a lot of stuff that I would ask. Actually, I would ask that question. So you're right. So like that's a good one. We could just log on and see. That would be super cool, because there are some exclusive things about that server that only exist for that server. For example, around cherry blossom season, all the trees around Dumbarton become cherry blossom trees. That's exclusive to the Japan server. And I just want to know like what other exclusive little quirky things, not quirky, but you know what I mean, what other exclusive things do they have? I'm kind of bummed. There was like a little bar over here that I was gonna go to before long, but they've closed up shop. There's like a little place that I can eat. I might just walk up into 7-Eleven and get me something to drink and call it a night, because everything else is closed, I think. Other than like really shady bars that I don't want to probably be in. Or maybe I should just walk into one and see what happens. You know, that's how adventures happen. Like last year in Kyoto, me and my buddy, we walked into a place that looked like it was like a local, it was a locals only place. And it ended up being the funnest time ever, because they were so overjoyed to have us walk in there, you know. It seemed rough at first, but then everyone was just really friendly. So never know. Yeah, everything's closed. There's a spot over there too that was open. Someone's singing though. Everyone's having like somebody back there's having a good time. I hear them from here. But yeah, this camera's uncomfortably close because I'm tethered to my battery. But if you have any other questions, I could try to answer it. I feel that. Then I won't say too much, because there are some surprises and I cannot wait to show them. I actually wish I've been filming more from like my camera. This is the first time that I mostly use my cell phone, and it's been pretty good. So I want to show like what I've been up to, but I really am excited to find out what this opens the door for in the future. And I'm not gonna say anything more Other than that, if things go well, I want this to be the start of Mobby content, of going places and doing things that are Mabinogi related, but like on a bigger scale. That's kind of what I hope for this to turn into. And that's all I'll say.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was a different take on the podcast since it was a special episode. We did have some issues, but going forward, don't expect those to happen again. We got it sorted out, especially in hindsight, looking over the footage. And I hope you guys enjoyed, It was kind of choppy sometimes, but the man's is roaming around Tokyo, He's not going to have the perfect IRL webcam video feed through a Discord call for the podcast, but I hope it still added like a cool insight, especially when he was roaming around the back alleys. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, thank you to Mabby Nerd and Firelight for absolutely carrying this episode. I truly appreciate everyone watching, everyone who's participating, and hopefully we can get a guest for next month and do more giveaways. Hope you all have a great November and see you in December.